So for monoprinting, you'll need your roller, an image, piece of paper the same size as your image, piece of blotting paper, and some masking tape. So just make sure that your image fits the size of the paper that you're working on. And you'll also need your acetate. So first thing you need to do is tape your acetate or your plastic to the table, so when you roll the ink out that it doesn't slide around. The next thing you need to do is tape around the size of the paper or image that you're working from. So on top of the acetate, just tape out a frame of the size of paper. So when you roll your ink will stay within the boundaries of this tape. And then once you have your tape on the plastic, you just need to get a small amount of ink, pea size, and put it onto your roller, spread it across your roller, and roll out the ink onto the acetate. So up and down, side to side, make sure it's all spread over. Try and have an even consistency across the acetate, and then if it goes onto the tape, that doesn't matter because you're going to remove that tape anyway. Now you've got your ink down, you're going to blot the ink, so you can use the same roller. Put your blotting paper on top of the ink and just press down with the roller to pick up the ink. Okay, and then remove the blotting paper just to take away any excess ink, or if you've got too much ink on there, that should take it away. Now you can remove the tape that you put on top of the plastic, and you should have a nice paper-sized section of ink that you can then work on top of. Now you need to get your image, can be colour, black and white, and then tape your image face up onto your paper. And now the final step before you can start printing is you need to tape your image and the paper together onto the acetate. So use a piece of tape at the top, so you're taping both the image and the paper down together, and if you keep it just taped on one side, then you can lift it up and check that the ink is going onto the paper. And once it's taped securely down, you can start using your biro to draw over the image. So where you put pressure on top of that, the ink will get picked up. So the harder you press, the darker or the more bold the print will be. So if you press lightly, then it will give you some sorts of shaded tones. If you press hard, then it's going to be strong concentrations of ink. So for the darker areas, you want to probably press harder, and then for the lighter areas, you just might want to shade over the image slightly. And you can lift it up and just check that the ink is taking to the paper, and just be careful that if you press with the side of your hand, then anywhere you put pressure, you'll be picking ink up. So if you put your hand on the paper, then that's going to pick up ink. So just be careful as you move your hand over the paper not to put any pressure down. And as you're working, just keep checking the paper, lifting it up, and making sure that the image is coming out as you want it to. So maybe you might want to go back over areas where you might not have pressed hard enough. So you can check it as many times as you need to as you're working. Then when you're all done, you can remove the paper and the image and put your print on the drying rack, as the ink still might be quite wet, and you can work into this once it's dried.